Hola a toda la audiencia de Criptonoticias. Nos encontramos en el Plan B Forum en Lugano y estamos con Alena Branova, pionera en el espacio, participó en la creación de la primera hardware wallet y bueno, ha estado en múltiples proyectos en la industria desde hace años. Quien, por cierto, habla un poco de español, aunque no va a estar en tu entrevista en español. Pero actualmente estás llevando este proyecto Glock que comenzó este año, ¿verdad?
Ujú.
Y bueno, he estado haciendo un seguimiento de todos los casos terribles que genera mucho temor de violencia física contra bitcoiners y ataques de esto. Y quería hablarte sobre todo de este tema. I'm gonna switch to English now. Yeah, I wanted to ask you, well, first of all, thank you for being here and give us your time to discuss this.
Of course,
Um,
happy to.
yeah, your r- overview, your regular or your broad impression about what is happening with this trend of physical attacks, because it feels like, well, as you showed in your presentation, it grows with Bitcoin price. No, like every time that the Bitcoin price goes up, it feels like violence as well goes up. Um, but if you see the numbers compared to the worldwide violence, maybe it's not that significant, perhaps, but it's a growing trend.
Well,
So, what do you think about this?
you basically answered your question.
Okay.
The numbers are compared to just generally kidnappings and extortions in the world tiny, but the most important is the trend,
Yes.
and the trend is skyrocketing. We are doubling in 2025. We are on a trajectory to double the amount of cases compared to last year.
Yeah.
Um, I was showing one of the slides I can share if you want to publish as well, that show the periods of Bitcoin, the early period, the mid, and the recent period, which is like triple at least. And so the trend is alarming, and not only the understanding that this is happening in the crypto world, but also the understanding that criminals are starting to use crypto as a channel to extract money from non-Bitcoiners.
Okay.
Okay, so we've had already cases of kidnappings for ransom where the person was not a Bitcoiner, not a crypto guy, just was a wealthy or successful entrepreneur. And these criminals starting to realize that they can force someone to just buy Tether, buy Bitcoin, open a Coinbase account or whatever exchange account, and force the victim to transfer their money from their bank
Yeah.
account, buy the crypto they want, and extract it from there.
Yeah, it reminds me to when these ransomware attacks were massive and the hackers were targeting companies all over the
Oh
world.
yeah,
That
that's still ongoing. That's still ongoing.
yeah,
That's the majority of the crime against crypto people. That's the majority in terms of volume of money and occurrence. And I'm not focusing on that because also the bad guys stopped focusing on individuals there. So the early rise of crypto ransom started around 2013 with the crypto locker, and
mhm,
if you remember those,
yeah,
um, that's when they were attacking individual computers to hold your data hostage.
mhm,
Okay, so the data was the hostage and forcing people to pay. They figured out really quickly that extracting one by one from small users, relatively small users, is not such a good business. So they gradually moved on to attacking company servers and company networks, and they still do that. We have billions, like $5 billion a year
and do you
wasted on this. Okay.
perceive this is also happening in the physical space? Like they are not targeting anymore the this maybe or
Mm.
I mean the kidnaps are target to the wealthy only, or the retail and
No, no.
little Bitcoiner as well is in danger?
Uh, yeah, unfortunately, it's not like that. if the way would be just to stay quiet and under the radar, that would be a perfect solution, I guess. But unfortunately, we see attacks on just normal people. And normal people, by that I mean people who either have very small savings in Bitcoin or none even. We see attacks on people because of $6,000.
Okay.
Okay, and kidnapping a person and holding and torturing a person for 6 days in a row and then extracting $6,000. So you don't really need.
The risk benefit comparison is not holding up there, no?
I would say those criminals, that gang was not well prepared, or they assumed that the person has much more, and that's a huge risk. The assumed wealth. Okay, people would think that, oh, Alena, she's in the space for a long time. She must be swimming in Satoshis. I wish, but for many people that have been in the space for a while, the assumed wealth is the risk number one, I would say. But then you have people that are just excited about Bitcoin and they talked about Bitcoin with their friends in good hope to explain this to them, and that those friends may have talked to some other friends in the pub, right? And maybe it was overheard by a bad guy, right? So it's not really aimed. And when I studied all the cases, I went through almost 250 cases.
That's a lot. Yeah,
a lot of very unpleasant reading, I must say.
I imagine. A bit scary now.
Well, for me, it didn't do the scare part. I was scared before. I chose the path of understanding and learning and preparing, right? To live in fear. Nobody wants to live in fear. And so we always innovate. We bring technologies that help you staying safe against hackers and malware and viruses.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hardware wallet, right? So it eliminated the fear because now you have a good solution.
But we were talking about this, that there is like not a final solution for this kind of violence. No? What do you think about this?
You cannot solve human nature. I'm not trying to get the world free of criminals. That's not the goal. My goal is to understand, prepare, and just live a good, resilient life. Not be worried too much, because the worries and fear prevent you from living your life to the full
Definitely
potential, and that's not the goal. So the goal is having tools, having strategies, thinking about it. This is when people do not think about it because it's very unpleasant. I don't want. Oh, it's nasty. It's ugly. Let's not talk about it. That puts that person in a much, much worse position than someone who has thought about it and thought like, okay, if this happens, then these are my options, what I can do.
And you will say that the difference between a regular kidnap or a regular kind of ransom with a Bitcoin or Bitcoiner focused ransom or kidnap is that assumption that if you have Bitcoin, you must be wealthy? Or what will be the difference?
No, they want Bitcoin or crypto because it's simply irreversible, or they think it's irreversible. Sometimes they think it's not traceable. Sometimes they assume that it's anonymous if they're not savvy enough. But it's definitely easier than getting the family to go into the bank, take out $1 million from the bank, or 10,000 or whatever they're asking, and bring it in cash, or to make the transfer from a bank. That's also impossible these days. So they assume that doing it via crypto is easier, which basically is.
Okay. Because I ask that because I've been thinking about what could kind of neutralize this trend, and I thought that maybe in the future, when Bitcoin is something that it's normal and it's widely adopted and everybody holds some amount of Bitcoin, maybe that you won't be special anymore as a Bitcoiner. Like people won't assume wealth because you hold Bitcoin, and I felt like, well, maybe mass adoption is like kind of a cure or a neutralizer for this kind of trend. Don't you think? No, not at all.
I don't think so. I'm sorry, but I don't think that's gonna put all the criminals like, oh, fine, everyone has Bitcoin. Why should I steal from you? You know, of course they will. There's always some people who will use violence to get the stuff they want.
Okay.
Um,
And
I would even say the opposite will be true. It will be easier for people to attack other people and extract value from them.
so you don't see this trend slowing down in the near future, but the opposite.
I see the opposite. You just look at the numbers to see that. What I see also is that people will probably prepare themselves much better.
Okay.
We had like the first honeymoon stage of Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, I love it. I miss it actually.
When we found this sound money and it was super exciting, and building all the wallets and everything on top of all the services, very exciting, and nobody was worried about talking.
Although it's crazy that you mentioned in your presentation that even Hal Finney had a swatting attack, like a similar kind of attack. So since the early beginning,
Yeah.
it has.
And that was 2014, and they wanted 1,000 Bitcoin from him. Okay, today 1,000 Bitcoin is a lot.
A lot, yeah.
So this is not a trend that would go down. I think it's just going to spiral.
Preparation. That's your business now.
Yes. Yes.
How do we prepare? Because we Bitcoiners, like in the hardware wallet space, like they have invested so much money in super highly specific technical ways to break a hardware wallet, in which, well, there is this meme of the $5 wrench attack.
Yes.
You don't need a fault injection attack to perform a theft. No, a theft. But yeah, like we have all these privacy tools that are not being widely adopted, sadly, and on the au contraire, they are being like, on the contrary, they are being like pushed away by the government. Like developers are right now kind of scared of implement privacy features in their softwares. Aside from the software thing, because kidnapping is a physical phenomenon, what can we do in mid-space, in the physical sphere, to prevent these kind of situations?
I mean, we could sit here for an entire day.
Yeah, no, I told you that 15 minutes, and I'm thinking like, I lied.
So, like, your goal is to make yourself a difficult target, okay? And the difficult target means you have multiple layers of protection. One of the advice that I would give people is to start to be more aware, situationally aware. A lot of times, like when just go out on the street and look at people how they're walking, looking into their phones, right? Completely ignorant about their environment, and so if at any time someone would target you, they would be tracing you, following, surveilling your home, your habits. And if you're completely unaware of your environment, you would not even notice. Okay? And so the one thing that anyone can improve right now is start to be more aware. And before you go out of the house in the morning, open the curtains, notice what kind of cars are on the street, who is there. Make sure that you notice when you see a person several times. Okay? So I would say this is one advice. Of course, there's much more to unpack, and we are dedicating special trainings to that. So we have this entire whole day counter-kidnapping training with military guys. They are well trained. They have been close combat, in body protection, in hostage situations. So they've been training diplomats and government employees that go to hostile environments on how to safely travel, how to spot surveillance, how to avoid problems. And so we are focusing in those trainings on mainly avoidance. Avoid is not number one best strategy.
Of course,
okay?
definitely.
Never get into, I hope never to get into
A kidnapping situation.
a situation like that. And so avoidance, if you cannot avoid a situation, you can evade, you can escape. So
Yeah.
if you're already there and they come knocking on the door, you can just jump out of the balcony or, have escape routes to go. If you cannot escape, you have to fight.
Definitely.
If you lost the fight, you need to win time.
Time.
Yeah.
You mentioned something in your presentation about time, like delaying the time frame in which you are in that process is something good, because most of the people will say, I want to escape from this situation as soon as possible, yeah, and will just surrender to that kidnappers and render the money, like, do you think that's not a good idea?
So here's the thing, like, as I said, it's multi-layered. The security needs to be thought of and have mechanisms in place how you can call for help. And call for help without the attackers realizing that you did. Okay, so winning time means like stretching the moment from being captured to the payout. Of course, stuff can happen in between, and I cannot possibly advise anyone to go and try to fight or go and try to shoot, because people mostly are not trained in shooting, right? So it could turn against them. So having several layers of protection, having the way to call for help and expecting the help to come is the best way to get out of the situation once there. The second best, right after not being in the situation at all.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing that caught my attention coming from Venezuela and being like aware of my surroundings after being exposed to some naughty situations, like one thing that happened to me was that it created trauma in me. Like it was difficult to overcome. No, how do you draw the line of between being aware and being like trying to uplift your security measures to being paranoid and scared? Like it's a psychological problem, but I believe it's kind of hard.
That's true. Don't be paranoid, or I mean, overly paranoid, but be prepared. We get ready. Even small improvements, as I said, small improvements are good. You don't need to try to worry to have it all in check and have like the best residential security and have this and that. And make improvements so that, for example, you know when someone's trying to enter your home. Okay, just simple not being surprised. And PTSD is a serious thing that happens to every victim of kidnappings or muggings or home invasions. And so a part of our training, the last part, is focused on how to treat your mind, soul. Oh, sorry. And your microphone. So that it works well, and you're not. People have serious traumatic problems after these events, and so if that happens, don't try to be ready with it quickly. Don't try to like lock it and shove it away to some back part of your mind, because it keeps coming up, and people then tend to be more scared, more anxious, okay, more uncomfortable in their own home, in their own skin. They don't trust themselves to protect themselves, right? So the treatment, like the psychological help, is absolutely needed. And people underestimate that a lot.
Yeah.
They think like now it's over and now I have to just get back to my normal life.
Yeah, get over it.
But getting back to normal life after that can have consequences. So people should, if that happens, it's good to take time, love yourself again, say, well, it happened, but here's the things I can do. Talk to an expert, talk to an expert, seek help. And not just for, like, if it happens to a family, it's important for the entire family to do.
You mentioned something that really caught my attention with like feeling secure. It was something like feeling secure depends on your ability to be secure, no? Like to protect yourself. I am not phrasing it exactly as you said, but
I don't even know how I said that. Honestly.
My point is that if you, after in one of these situations that you were unaware before, start learning how you can protect yourself and how you can take security measures to improve your, I don't know, your prevention from these kind of situations, maybe it can help to overcome those PTSD and all of that.
Yeah.
And in the perspective of the security measures that we have developed in software, like, I don't know, implemented maybe a decoy wallet, which some funds that appear not to be your life savings. Do you believe that's something that works? Because also something that caught really my attention in the participation of Rosello Lopez in your panel was that it was they knew they had his money because he didn't perform coin control. No, he didn't select which UTXO was going to be sent to the buyer he was selling his bitcoins to, and he practically tell the whole network, but especially the buyer, that he had that amount of bitcoin. No, so maybe those tools are not the final solution at all, but do they help in your perspective?
Like precautions?
Yeah, precautions like using a coin control or maybe a decoy wallet, something like that.
Yeah, if you want a decoy wallet or a sacrificial wallet, it has to be believable.
Definitely.
So if you just create a sacrificial wallet and do a one-time deposit and then never touch the transactions, depends what kind of adversaries so you meet. You can have a stupid guy from the street who barely knows what it is, or you can have very, very educated adversaries that have been planning. Oftentimes the gang has one brain, who is a crypto guy. Okay, and that person doesn't do the violence. He's sitting at the computer and on the phone with the attackers and giving them advice. Okay,
Wow,
so this is
that's pretty sophisticated.
but it's getting more and more, unfortunately. So more and more, they will be planning precisely. They will have the entire research done before. So it really depends on what kind of adversary you meet.
Which is not something that you can prevent.
And you cannot even plan for that, right?
Exactly.
So what kind of guy do I meet on the street? I don't know, right?
But
So that is, it's very difficult to give us like a simple universal answer. This is not a black and white situation, never. None of the individual situation of the crypto owners, investors is always different. It's always different. So there's no pattern to follow. Like, okay, if they do this, I do this, and I'm fine.
Definitely. No, and you in your presentation talk about different scenarios, different profiles of kidnappers and people that had been kidnapped. Is there any more, like, if you can pinpoint which one is the most regular kind of attacker and the most regular kind of victim, what would it be?
So the most common scenarios, I would put them together because they overlap a lot.
Okay.
Is home invasion and kidnapping. Is that's the probably 50% of all the cases.
That's a lot.
And so that's usually bigger groups that organize, starting from 3 people to gangs of 9, 15. Sometimes the gangs have sub-teams. Each team is focused on some other part of the story. So they're getting more and more professional. A lot of social engineering is getting into play. So inviting people to business meetings, okay, inviting to dates, fake malicious invitation is quite often the case. And then
Through dating apps, you mentioned here.
dating apps or just like business meetings, it can look all very legitimate. It's a huge investment opportunity, and they lure the person into another country. They pay him for him the flight and hotel and everything, just to get him there, and then they attack. And so the home invasion, kidnapping, and then the peer-to-peer trade tends to sometimes result
Peer-to-peer trades in person.
in person. Yeah,
Huh.
peer-to-peer trade in person. Which is very tricky, but I've written down a really good best practice for peer-to-peer. It's not public. We are giving it out to our training participants as like several preventive measures that you can take before doing a peer-to-peer trade to make sure that it goes well.
Okay, nice.
So this is like the 2-3 most common scenarios. If you ask me for a typical criminal,
There's
just a bad guy who doesn't want to work for his money.
that's it.
That's it.
Your company Glock now it's focusing on producing this device, which will be like a panic pin, no, to alert family without tracing the information in the company, which is fabulous because, as you said, those companies are like honeypots
Exactly, yeah.
most of the time. But is as well as it was Treasure in their moment is the first of its kind right now in this space, at least. Do you foresee that it's going to become a trend, like a new niche in the cryptocurrency industry to develop this kind of businesses focusing on preventing physical attacks?
I don't know, Ivan. Let's see how it goes, because we're also in research and development on the hardware. It's not an easy task because we're trying to basically miniaturize a phone without a screen. Right? It has everything. It has all the GPS, GSM antennas. It has a battery. So trying to fit it into a tiny device that will be concealed, so it will not look like piece of electronics. That's the goal. And if we're able to do it, fine. If not, maybe someone else will come and do it better.
Will it be open source?
Yeah, well, so we're starting with the software app that will be open source. The app will have a big red button, which will basically do the same thing. The hardware, honestly, I haven't thought about it yet.
Okay.
It's like the list of the priorities.
Yeah, I imagine.
For now, I just want to do it. It's not that important to have the hardware open. I mean, anyone can build their own hardware, right? It's important for people to be able to expect to check the software so that it's clear that me as the company will not know the positioning
The whereabouts of the
the
people.
whereabouts of the users. That's the main goal.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, do you have any other like projection, or I mean this is the
Any wise words to the end? No, guys, just stay safe. Stay safe. Invest a little bit into your family by just prepping. Get up your residential security and make sure that you're not leaking information online about yourself. Or if your wife needs to post the amazing hotel that you took her to, tell her to do it after the vacation. Okay. So invest and to stay safe, and thank you so much for your work.
Thank you,
Ivan.
Anna. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you.